In the heart of a chaotic high school hallway, Ms. Harper, a rookie teacher with a hidden past, faces a pack of ruthless bullies who think they own the school. When they rip her shirt in front of everyone, they expect her to break. But what they don't know, she's a former MMA fighter with a score to settle. One move changes everything tonight. The Underdog strikes back. If you're ready for a story packed with drama, twists, and epic showdowns, hit that subscribe button and join the ride. Don't miss Outlet C, who's got the courage to stand up. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting a sterile glow over the crowded hallways of Lincoln High. It was 8:15 a.m. The morning rush was in full swings, the moton shoving past each other, lockers slamming, laughter and shouts blending into a chaotic symphony. At 24, Emily Harper was the youngest teacher in the school, barely older than some of her seniors. Her first week as a history teacher had been a blur of lesson plans, nervous smiles, and trying to remember names. But today, something felt off. She could feel eyes on her as she walked, clutching her coffee mug and a stack of handouts. The air was thick with whispers, and she caught snippets of snickers from a group of boys leaning against the lockers. They were the kind of kids who radiated trouble varsity jackets, cocky smirks, and a swagger that screamed untouchable. Them was Jake Malone, a senior with a chiseled jaw and a reputation for making anyone who crossed him regret it. Emily adjusted her glasses and kept walking, her flats clicking against the linoleum. She'd dealt with tough crowds before. Growing up in a rough neighborhood in Chicago, she'd learned to keep her head down, but her fists ready. Her past wasn't something she advertised. No one here knew about the years she'd spent training in mixed martial arts, competing in underground cages to pay for college. That life was behind her now. She was here to teach, to inspire, to be the kind of role model she'd never had. But as she passed Jake's crew, one of them Dylan, a lanky kid with a buzzcut, muttered something under his breath. The others laughed, loud and sharp. Emily's grip tightened on her mug, but she kept her eyes forward. Don't engage, she told herself. By lunchtime, the whispers had grown louder. Emily sat alone in the teacher's lounge, grading quizzes, when she overheard two colleagues talking in hushed tones. "Did you see what they posted about her on X?" one said. Emily's stomach dropped. She pulled out her phone, opened the app, and searched her name. There it was, a grainy photo of her from her first day, captioned, "New teacher thinks she's hot stuff. Let's see how long she lasts." The post had hundreds of likes, mostly from students. Comments piled up, some crude, others mocking her glasses, her cardigan, her try-hard vibe. Jake Malone's handle was tagged as the poster. Emily's face burned. She wanted to slam her phone down, but instead she closed the app and took a deep breath. This wasn't her first time being targeted. She'd survived worse. That afternoon, during her third period class, the tension boiled over. Jake and his crew sat in the back, sprawled across their desks like they owned the room. Emily was midway through a lecture on the Civil War when Jake raised his hand, a smirk playing on his lips. "Miss Harper, you ever been in a real fight? Like not just arguing with your mom?" The class snickered. Emily paused, chalk in hand, and turned to face him. "I'm here to teach history, Jake, not swap war stories. Let's stay on topic." His smirk widened. "Just asking. You look like you'd cry if someone stepped on your shoes." The room erupted in laughter. Emily's jaw clenched, but she forced a smile. "Let's talk about Gettysburg instead. Open your books." After class, as students filed out, Jake lingered. He leaned against her desk, too close, his voice low. "Should be careful, Ms. Harper. People around here don't like teachers who think they're better than us." Emily met his gaze, her pulse steady. "I don't think I'm better than anyone, Jake. I just want to do my job." He chuckled, backing off. "We'll see." As he left, Emily felt a chill. This wasn't just teenage bravado. Jake was testing her, and she knew it was only the beginning. The next day, things escalated. Emily was walking to her classroom when she heard footsteps behind her. Before she could turn, someone grabbed the hem of her blouse and yanked. The fabric tore with a sickening rip, exposing her shoulder and bra strap. Gasps and laughter echoed through the hallway. She spun around to see Jake holding the torn piece of her shirt like a trophy, his crew howling behind him. "Oops," he said, tossing it at her feet. "Guess you need a new one. Teach." The crowd of students grew, phones out, recording. Emily's face burned, but she didn't cover herself. She stood tall, staring Jake down. "You think this is funny?" she asked, her voice calm but sharp. Jake shrugged. "Just a joke. Chill." The hallway seemed to close in, the laughter deafening. Emily's mind flashed to her old life, the cage, the sweat, the roar of the crowd. She'd fought bigger opponents than Jake, ones with real malice, but this wasn't a cage. This was her job, her fresh start. She bent down, picked up the torn fabric and walked away, head high, ignoring the jeers. In the bathroom, she locked herself in a stall and leaned against the wall, breathing hard. She wasn't scared. She was angry. Angry at Jake, at the school, at herself, for thinking she could escape her past. That night, Emily sat in her small apartment, staring at the expos that had spread like wildfire. The video of her shirt being ripped had thousands of views. Comments called her weak, pathetic, a pushover. She scrolled through Jake's profile, seeing his history of tormenting other students, teachers, even younger kids. He was untouchable, the son of a school board member with connections that kept him out of trouble. Emily's fingers hovered. Over her phone, she could report him, go through the proper channels. But she knew how that worked. A slap on the wrist, maybe a suspension, and he'd be back worse than ever. Instead, she made a different call. She dialed her old coach, Marcus, who still ran a gym in Chicago. "Em, you okay?" he asked, his voice gruff but warm. "I'm fine," she lied. "Just need to brush up. Can I use the gym this weekend?" Marcus paused. "You sure?" "Left that life for a reason." Emily gripped the phone. "Not fighting again. I just need to feel strong." After a beat, he agreed. "Door's always open for you." Over the weekend, Emily drove 3 hours to the gym. The smell of sweat and rubber mats hit her like a wave of nostalgia. She wrapped her hands, slipped on gloves, and spent hours on the heavy bag, her muscles remembering every move. Marcus watched from the sidelines, arms crossed. "You're still a beast," he said, "but you're holding back. What's going on?" Emily wiped sweat from her brow. "Just some punk kid at work. Thinks he can break me." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "And you're gonna let him?" She didn't answer, but the question burned. Back at school on Monday, the atmosphere was electric. The video was still circulating, and students whispered as Emily passed. She wore a new blouse, her hair pulled back, her expression unreadable. In third period, Jake was bolder than ever. He tossed a paper ball at her during her lecture, grinning when it hit her desk. "Missed," he said loudly. The class laughed. Emily stopped writing on the board and turned. "Jake, stay after class. We need to talk." He leaned back unfazed. "Whatever you say, teach." When the bell rang, the room cleared out, leaving just Emily and Jake. She closed the door and sat on the edge of her desk, arms crossed. "What's your problem with me?" she asked. Jake shrugged, slouching in his chair. "You're new. You're soft. People like you don't last here." Emily nodded slowly. "You think I'm soft because I don't yell or fight back?" "You don't know me, Jake. You don't know what I'm capable of." He laughed, standing up. "What? You gonna cry to the principal?" "Good luck. My dad's got this place locked down." He stepped closer, towering over her. "You're nothing." "Here?" Emily didn't flinch. "Last chance, Jake. Back off, or you'll regret it." He smirked, leaning in so close she could smell his cologne. Make me? That was it. The line was crossed. Emily's instincts kicked in, years of training flooding back. She grabbed his wrist, twisted it behind his back, and in one fluid motion, spun him toward the lockers lining the classroom wall. His shoulder hit the metal with a loud clang, not hard enough to hurt, but enough to shock him. He stumbled, eyes wide, as Emily stepped back, her voice steady. "Don't test me again." Jake's face twisted with rage, but for the first time. There was fear in his eyes. He stormed out, muttering threats, but Emily knew she'd shaken him. Word spread fast. By lunch, the school was buzzing with rumors. Ms. Harper had slammed Jake Malone into a locker. Some called it assault. Others called it badass. Emily braced herself for the fallout. She expected a call to the principal's office, maybe a suspension. But when the principal, Mrs. Carter, summoned her, the conversation took an unexpected turn. Emily. "I saw the video from the hallway last week," Mrs. Carter said, her tone neutral. "And I heard about today. Jake's father is furious, says you attacked his son." Emily's heart sank. "I didn't attack him. I defended myself." Mrs. Carter leaned back, studying her. "Believe you. Jake's been a problem for years, but his father's influence keeps him protected. Off the record. I'm glad someone finally stood up to him. But you need to be careful. This isn't over." That night, Emily got a text from an unknown number. "You're dead, teacher." Her blood ran cold, but she didn't reply. Instead, she started digging. Using a fake X account, she scrolled through Jake's posts and those of his crew. She found photos of parties, cryptic messages about handling business, and hints of something darker, rumors of Jake and his friends running a side hustle, selling answers to tests and even drugs to younger kids. Emily's anger grew. This wasn't just bullying, it was corruption. She started screenshotting everything, building a file. The school wouldn't stop Jake, she'd find another way. The next twist came unexpectedly. During her free period, a shy sophomore named Mia approached her. "Ms. Harper, I saw what happened with Jake. I know something about him." Mia's hands trembled as she handed Emily a USB drive. "It's proof. He's been blackmailing kids, threatening to leak their secrets unless they pay him. I recorded him talking about it." Emily's eyes widened. "Mia, this is serious. Why didn't you go to the principal?" Mia looked down. "Jake's dad would bury it. You're the only one who's ever stood up to him." Emily plugged the USB into her laptop that night. The audio was grainy but damning Jake's voice, bragging about extorting students, naming names, and laughing about how untouchable he was. Emily's mind raced. This could end him, but it could also backfire. If Jake's father had as much pull as everyone said, she'd need more than audio. She needed a plan. Over the next week, Emily played it cool at school, acting like nothing had happened. Jake, meanwhile, doubled down. He spread rumors that Emily had attacked him unprovoked, painting her as unstable. The X posts grew nastier, with fake screenshots claiming she'd been fired from her last job. Emily ignored them, focusing on her classes and quietly gathering allies. Mia introduced her to other students who'd been targeted by Jake kids too scared to speak up. They formed a small, secret group, meeting after school to share stories and evidence. Emily was careful, knowing one wrong move could cost her job. The turning point came at the school's annual talent show, a big event attended by students, parents, and even local media. Jake and his crew planned to perform a rap, their way of flexing their status. Emily saw her chance. With Mia's help, she'd compiled a video clips of Jake's bullying, the audio from the USB, screenshots of his X posts, all edited. Together with timestamps. It was risky, but she was done playing defense. The night of the talent show, the auditorium was packed. Emily sat in the back, her heart pounding. Jake's performance was halfway through when the screen behind him flickered. Instead of his music video, Emily's compilation began to play. The crowd fell silent as Jake's voice filled the room, boasting about his schemes. Faces appeared on screen, students he'd humiliated, including a tearful freshman Hood. Paid him to keep a private photo offline. The final clip was the hallway incident, showing Jake ripping Emily's shirt. Gasps rippled through the audience. Jake froze on stage, his face pale. His crew tried to unplug the projector, but it was too late. Chaos erupted. Parents shouted, students whispered, and Jake's father, sitting in the front row, turned red. With fury, Emily stood, ready to face the consequences. But something unexpected happened. Mia stood up too, then another student, and another. They started chanting, "No more." The auditorium shook with their voices. Jake bolted off the stage, his father chasing after him. Emily caught Mrs. Carter's eye across the room. The principal gave her a subtle nod. The The aftermath was swift. Jake was suspended pending an investigation. His father's influence couldn't stop the flood of complaints that poured in once students felt safe to speak. The school board launched a formal inquiry, and Jake's crew scattered there. Power broken. Emily, expecting to be fired, was instead called a hero by the local paper, but she didn't feel like one. She'd exposed Jake, but at a cost. Her past was out now. Someone had dug up old fight videos, and whispers about her MMA days spread. Some parents called her too aggressive for a teacher. Others thanked her for protecting their kids. One evening, as Emily packed up her classroom, Mia stopped by. "You changed everything, Miss Harper," she said. "I was scared to speak up before you." Emily smiled, but it was bittersweet. "I just did what I had to, Mia. Now it's your turn to be brave." Mia nodded, clutching a notebook. "I'm starting a club for kids like me to stand up to bullies. Will you help?" Emily hesitated, then nodded. "Count me in." She drove home that night. Emily felt the weight of the past week's lift. She'd come to Lincoln High to start over, to leave the fighter behind. But maybe that part of her wasn't gone, it was just waiting for the right moment. She glanced at her phone where a new ex-post was gaining traction, a photo of her and Mia, captioned, "The teacher who fought back." For the first time, she didn't mind the attention. Wow, what a ride. Where are you watching this story from? Drop a comment with your city or state. Let's see how far this tale of courage reaches across the USA. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more epic stories.